It's not really a feeling of hopefulness. It's kind of just checking boxes.
The Aurora Police Department now at the center of a new investigation. This one launched by the Attorney General.
This is our highest priority. We need to regain the trust of the community.
Tonight we're going 360, looking at multiple perspectives on what people think it will take for the Aurora Police Department to be turned around.
What I want to see is actual change.
Plus, RTD sends a clear message about a plan to eliminate armed security officers. Now, one transit leader is going back to the drawing board.
Plus, when this 12-year-old's bike went missing, the community found him a new set of wheels.
It was kind of pretty cool, actually.
On the same day, the family of Elijah McClain files a federal civil rights lawsuit against the city of Aurora, its officers and paramedics over the death of McClain. The Colorado Attorney General's office announced it is launching another review of that police department.
Phil Weiser's office will be looking to see if there's a pattern of officers depriving people of their constitutional rights, all while the city initiates its own comprehensive review.
And tonight, questions about what it will really take to regain the community's trust and rebuild this police department. Denver7's Gary Brode tonight is going 360.
Change may be coming for the Aurora Police Department.
A comprehensive review of the Aurora Police Department has been a long time coming.
2 top-to-bottom reviews of the APD were revealed on Tuesday. One launched by Attorney General Phil Weiser, who said today he's been investigating the department for weeks. A second by the city, a few hours after we learned of the AG's review. In a statement, Aurora Police say it supports both reviews. But is it a step in the right direction, or is the city just paying lip service? Tonight, Denver7 goes 360 with perspectives from a community leader, the attorney for the family of Elijah McClain, one of the owners of 21CP Solutions, the group tasked with the review, and Aurora's city manager.
We need to regain the trust of the community, and so it's a real urgency for us.
Aurora City Manager Jim Twombly says every aspect of the department will be looked at, including community perception.
They will come in and they'll work with the community in terms of getting community input and how the community views the police department, and if there are problems that they identify.
Aurora has been big on announcing review after review after review.
Mari Newman is the lawyer for Elijah McClain's family. She's concerned the pending review is all talk.
What I want to see is actual change. So talking about it isn't going to do it. The Aurora Police Department needs to take serious action to evaluate what is wrong, rebuild it from the ground up.
The company 21CP Solutions will lead the review. The contract has yet to be finalized, so it's unclear how much it'll cost. Early estimates are around $250,000.
We put together a team of subject matter experts that varies greatly.
Sean Smoot is with 21CP. He, along with the owners, started the company after working on President Obama's 21st Century Police Task Force, hence the name. The group has worked with a list of departments and state law enforcement, including Baltimore, Seattle, and Cleveland.
And I'm hopeful that maybe it's real, but when someone usually comes in to play savior, there's something attached to it. There's no things of free lunch, and so I want to see for myself.
Community leader Candace Bailey says a fresh perspective could be a good thing, while still she remains skeptical.
When someone from the outside tends to come in, I always sit quietly to see what happens next, because my grandma said, why do you come from somewhere else to take over someone else's town? Does that mean that you're not wanted in your own town?
In Aurora, Gary Brode, Denver7.
Now, both the city and Attorney General's investigations, well, they could really take months. And in the meantime, we want to know what you think local police could do better or what they're doing well. Email 360@thedenverchannel.com.
We have some new video for you tonight at 10 that shows a Denver police officer hitting a pedestrian with a patrol car while her cell phone is in her hands. Now, this happened last year off Mariposa Street in West Colfax. But tonight we're learning that Officer Jamie Taft was suspended for 38 days after pleading guilty to careless driving. According to the disciplinary report, the pedestrian suffered spinal fractures.
In the last few hours, RTD discussed a proposal to cut its security budget by more than $20 million with the possibility of ending its contract with a security company and instead spending money to provide more mental health and social workers. However, nearly every RTD board member, except for the one who wrote the proposal, said no to the idea. Several RTD board members called the resolution confusing, saying they're opposed to the elimination of police. RTD board member Chantel Lewis wrote the proposal, and tonight she says if people had concerns with this proposal, she wished they had voiced those earlier so she could tweak the resolution. Another board member said this is a time to look at allied security and their protocols. Homeless advocates supported the idea, saying homeless are often easy targets for armed security officers. However, the union representing RTD bus drivers says drivers were really worried about this proposal.
There's been an increase in fights amongst passengers. There's been an increase in passengers not only assaulting, but just throwing fluids, spitting, cursing.
Board member Chantel Lewis says she is determined to bring this back up with a new, clearer proposal.
Tonight, family and friends of 9-month-old Gianna gathered to honor, remember, and celebrate her life with a candlelight vigil. Her death is being investigated as a homicide, but we still haven't learned what happened here. Gianna was brought into Denver Health on August 3rd, and she died 2 days later. Anthony Rosales, her father, says Gianna died despite efforts to alert local police and CPS that he was concerned for her well-being.
She was always smiling, laughing. Never really a dull moment with my daughter. We need justice.
We are still tonight waiting on the autopsy report to learn how she died, and at last check, there have been no arrests.
Fire crews say the winds and the dry weather fueled the Grizzly Creek fire today. It's now scorched 3,200 acres, up from just 1,300 acres this time last night. It's burning in Glenwood Canyon, just a few miles east of Glenwood Springs. Now, we're told the fire crossed the Colorado River and jumped I-70 this afternoon. And the flames so intense, I-70 in both directions between Glenwood Springs and Gypsum is closed right now and will remain closed overnight. Cottonwood Pass is also closed until further notice. And today, more people were ordered to leave their homes, including residents in No Name, Lookout Mountain, and residents who live east of Glenwood Springs. And others are on pre-evacuation notices.
I packed up, grabbed my dog and my bikes, and took off. All it would really take is a shift in the wind. I'm very concerned. I mean, it's definitely not over, and I'm just going to stay here in Glenwood.
And right now, it is not clear when I-70 will reopen, so just be sure to stay with Denver7 for updates. And Air Tracker 7 is giving us a look at the Pine Gulch fire that's burning on the west slope near Grand Junction. This one has grown to nearly 37,000 acres, and fire crews are still trying to get it under control. A lightning strike started the fire at the end of July.
Once rivals, now running mates. Joe Biden has tapped California Senator Kamala Harris as his pick for VP. And this is the first time in U.S. history a woman of color has been on a major party ticket. Now, Biden calls her a fearless fighter for the little guy, saying he was ultimately looking for somebody he could trust. Harris, a former district attorney in San Francisco and California's attorney general, took to Twitter to say, "I'm honored and ready to do what it takes to make him our commander-in-chief."
Two of the most powerful conferences in college sports, the Big Ten and the Pac-12, have canceled fall season for all sports. That means no CU football or men and women's cross country, soccer, or women's volleyball. Student athletes will still get their scholarships. The conference will reevaluate things come January to see if sports can resume.
A Sheridan teacher and co-teacher in isolation tonight after the co-teacher tested positive for the virus. The two were on campus at Alice Terry Elementary last week getting their classrooms ready. Well, the teacher has not been tested but is in quarantine. The district says the classroom and school have been disinfected. Sheridan School District is planning to start in-person learning next Monday.
A 12-year-old accidentally put his bike in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it was taken. And when the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office heard what happened, they decided to make it right.
Here's Denver7's Ivan Rodriguez.
Zachary Gallagher couldn't wait to get on his brand new bike, so he rode it to Newton Middle School in Centennial.
But then it got lost. When I was going from Newton to seeing the tree get cut down, then all of a sudden it went missing.
Zachary leaned his bike against a fence that read "Free Furniture" and walked away. Moments later, a truck came by, and before Zachary noticed, it was gone.
When I filled out a form for missing property, I thought maybe I'd run across it in a pawn shop or something.
But the Arapahoe County Sheriff decided to step in.
I talked to my team, and everybody agreed we're going to chip in and get him a new bike.
An act of kindness that left Zachary smiling again.
It was like kind of pretty cool, actually.
He loves riding his bicycle, and it's great to see the outpouring of support from the community. We didn't do this as police officers. We did this as citizens of Arapahoe County.
His new bike and helmet, a symbol of small actions a community can take that lead to unforgettable memories. Ivan Rodriguez, Denver 7.